In this video you will learn how to refute the Halloween Gambit. After the moves e4, e5. White can play knight f3, developing the king's knight and attacking the e5 pawn. Black can answer knight c6, developing the queen's knight and defending the attacked pawn. White can play knight c3, developing the queen's knight. Black can respond with knight f6, entering the four knights game. Now, white can play knight takes e5, which begins the Halloween Gambit. White sacrifices a knight with the idea of forming a powerful pawn center. But this sacrifice is too risky and, in reality, black can easily defend himself and gain the advantage. After knight takes e5, white can play d4, occupying the center with his pawns and attacking the opposing knight. If now black retreats his knight to the c6 square, white can continue with d5, gaining space in the center and attacking the opposing knight. After knight e5, white plays f4, attacking the opponent's knight again. After knight g6, white plays e5. White is gaining tempo by attacking the opposing knights and has managed to form a powerful pawn center, which offers them some compensation for the sacrificed piece. White puts a lot of pressure, so black is forced to return the piece. For example, they can play bishop b4 or bishop c5, developing the king's bishop to a good diagonal and preparing to castle. White can capture the knight. Black can castle. And they can continue with moves like queen takes f6, rook e8 check, d6 and so on. Black has a very good game. After the d4 move, black's best option is to retreat his knight to the g6 square. On the g6 square the knight will be safer than on c6 and white will not be able to gain as many times by attacking against the black knights. Now, black can continue with moves like bishop b4, castling, etc. White has to play with energy, since he is playing with one less piece. The best option for white is e5, advancing in the center and attacking the opposing knight. Black can respond with knight g8, to defend the knight and preserve the advantage piece. Black's development plan is bishop b4, c6, to continue with d5, develop the knight on the e7 square, castle on the kingside. And once black completes the development of his pieces he will be able to assert his advantage piece without complications. For example, if white plays queen f3, black can respond c6, with the idea of continuing with d5. For example, after bishop c4. Now, white threatens to give checkmate on f7. Black can answer d5. White can capture en passant. Black can play bishop e6, to avoid mate and later on he will be able to capture the d6 pawn. For example, if white plays bishop takes e6. Black plays f takes e6. And they can continue with moves like bishop takes d6, knight f6, queen d7, castling and they have an advantage. White's best option is to advance with d5, but this allows black to take his knight to the e5 square, attacking the opponent's queen and bishop on c4. After queen e2, black can capture the bishop on c4. White can capture the bishop on e6. Black can respond knight takes d6. After e takes f7 check. Black can play king takes f7 and the black king is perfectly safe. Black can play queen e7 to change queens and can assert his advantage. After the move knight g8, the move f4 is not dangerous, since black can respond with d5, placing a pawn in the center and freeing the action to the bishop on c8. White can play bishop d3, threatening to advance with f5. Black can play knight 6 to e7, controlling the f5 square. Black can continue with moves like g6, h5, etc. and they have an advantage. After the knight's retreat to g8, white's best option is bishop c4. Black can play c6, with the idea of continuing with d5. Or play d5 directly. White can play bishop takes d5. Black can play c6, attacking the bishop and taking control of the d5 square. After bishop b3. Black can play bishop e6, developing the queen's bishop and opposing the action of the enemy bishop. If white plays bishop takes e6, black answers f takes e6 and can continue with moves like bishop b4, knight g to e7, queen d7 and castled on either side. After the move bishop e6, white can play d5. But black answers c takes d5. After knight takes d5. Black plays knight 8 to e7, attacking against the white knight. Black is going to manage to change a couple of pieces to simplify the position. Black has one more piece and his advantage is evident. So you already know how to refute the Halloween Gambit. From now on you can destroy your opponents when they try to trick you with the Halloween Gambit.